Welcome back to Clean Tech Talk. Today, we are plugging into a piece of hardware that usually gets completely taken for granted.
Right up until it fails on you.
Exactly. We're doing a deep dive into the 24V LiFePO4 battery charger.
Which I know sounds strictly utilitarian on the surface, very dry.
Very dry.
But honestly, if you are running a serious off-grid setup, marine van life or a solar backup, this device is essentially the heartbeat of your energy storage.
Yeah, because if the charger is the weak link, it really doesn't matter how expensive your battery bank is.
The whole system just goes down.
And looking at the sources, the biggest conflict here seems to be legacy thinking. People see a 24-volt charger in their garage from an old lead-acid setup and just assume...
Voltage is voltage, right. It'll work on my new lithium bank.
Right.
Which is a hugely expensive mistake. It's not just about pushing power, it's about the chemistry.
Because a 24-volt lithium iron phosphate setup is typically made up of 8 cells in series.
Exactly. And to hit a true 100% state of charge, you need a very precise peak voltage, specifically 29.2 volts.
That's exactly 3.65 volts per cell.
Yep. No more, no less.
Whereas those old lead-acid chargers usually clip the wings early. They typically top out around, 28.4 volts?
Precisely. And while 0.8 volts sounds negligible, in battery chemistry, it's massive. If you stop at 28.4 volts, you are chronically undercharging the pack.
You're never actually balancing the cells at the top end.
Right, which eventually leads to capacity drift. You're basically paying for a full tank of gas, but the pump shuts off at 3/4 every single time.
That sounds incredibly frustrating. Which brings us to the actual charging profile, the CCCV method. Constant current, constant voltage.
Yes.
I really like the analogy the documentation uses here, pouring a beer.
It's the perfect visualization. Stage 1 is the constant current phase. You're pouring fast to fill the glass.
Replenishing the bulk of the energy as fast as possible.
But you can't pour that fast all the way to the rim or it just foams over and makes a mess.
Right, so you switch to stage 2, constant voltage.
Exactly. The charger holds that steady 29.2 volts, but the current, the speed of the flow, tapers off significantly.
So it saturates the chemistry safely without overheating or overpressurizing the cells.
And this is where the hardware has to be so much smarter than those old transformers. These modern chargers are actually talking to the BMS.
The battery management system.
Yes. That handshake is critical. The charger isn't just pushing electrons blindly, it's reacting, monitoring temperature, rebalancing cells.
It's acting like a security detail, basically. The sources list over voltage, over current, short circuit, and reverse polarity protection.
Which is completely non-negotiable. If you're on a boat dealing with salt spray and vibration, you need that IP65 rating.
Or for mobility setups, electric wheelchairs, golf carts.
Even solar. When the sun goes down, you need a charger that can seamlessly bridge the gap using a generator or grid power without frying the system.
But even with all those smarts, sizing is where people still get tripped up.
The bigger is better fallacy.
People want the fastest charge possible, so they overshoot on the amperage.
Right, but lithium has limits. The golden rule in the data is a charge rate between 0.3 C and 0.5 C.
Okay, so to put that in real numbers for you listening, say you have a standard 100 amp hour battery.
You should not be throwing 50 amps at it.
Way too fast.
You want a charger putting out 20 to 30 amps? That's the sweet spot. A 20 amp charger gets a 100 amp hour battery from flat to full in about 5 or 6 hours.
Which is plenty fast.
Yeah, if you try to blast it with 50 or 60 amps constantly, you might save an hour, but you're stressing the chemistry and killing your cycle life.
Reliability really is the recurring theme here. The research actually flagged Aolith, specifically in this context, noting their 15 and 25 amp models.
They're a great example of a manufacturer offering wide compatibility but actually tuning the profile for LiFePO4 rather than just slapping a sticker on a generic unit.
It really changes the perspective. You aren't just buying an accessory, you're buying an insurance policy for your entire power system.
That is the ultimate takeaway.
You really have to ask yourself when looking at your own setup tonight, are you relying on a dumb charger to protect a smart battery? Because that is a recipe for disaster.
Absolutely. Make sure the brains match up.
Great advice. And as a special thank you to our listeners, you can now enjoy 10% off your next purchase at Aolith. Just use the promo code AOLITH2026 at checkout. That's AIOLITH 2026. Don't miss out.